Good day, everyone. Our topic for today is all about approaches, strategies, and techniques of teaching. Even though we are in the hardest part of our life, still we are the hope of our students' dream. That's why everything that we do is always depends on the strategies, approaches, and techniques we will use for our learners. The objectives of this lesson is to define and understand the meaning of approaches, strategies, and techniques. Determine and apply the different approaches, strategies, and techniques in teaching. Differentiate approaches, strategies, and techniques, and determine the common cause of students' misbehavior and why they need to receive approaches, strategies, and techniques. What is approach? This concept refers to the philosophical framework of any subject of course provide the why, what, and the how of teaching particular subject. In addition, it gives the basic teaching materials to be used in teaching that subject including the evaluative tools that are necessary to appraise students' learning. It should be stressed that approach is prescriptive in the sense that each subject taught by teachers has a particular approach to be used. The science subject uses the discovery approach, and so with mathematics. English use English teachers used a communicative approach. Home economics observed the laboratory approach. Music and arts, the creative approach, and so forth. Therefore, every subject have different approach to be used in teaching. Essentially, under an approach are different enabling and expository strategies or methods that a teacher selects to use in teaching a concept. For instance, the discovery approach uses many strategies like the inductive method, question and answer, experimenting, field trip, analysis, case study, project method, and others. The basic and approaches are the following. So we have discovery approach, process approach, inquiry approach, integrative approach, master learning approach, value-oriented approach, value clarification approach. For the discovery approach, it is a specific approach. Students state the problem and then look for their answers under the guidance of the teacher who acts as facilitator of learning. In using this approach, the teacher generally does not tell the objectives of the lesson or the concepts to the learner or to learn by the learner. It is up for them to discover what the lesson is all about. To illustrate, if a teacher is teaching about verb in English, she should avoid saying, "Class, today we are going to study about verb. What we are going to take up today, class?" Another example is in social studies. The subject matter is all about Andres Bonifacio. In this manner, the teacher should avoid saying, "Class, today we are going to take up the life of Andres Bonifacio. Do you know, class, that Bonifacio was a poor man, but he founded the Katipunan?" In these two examples, the teacher has already said the subject matter to be learned by the students. This is an utter mistake and must be avoided in keeping with the tenet of the discovery approach. At the end of the lesson, the students formulate the generalization or conclusion or principle as the case may be. Ideally, all subjects should be use this approach. So for the discovery approach, hindi mo sasabihin kung ano ang subject matter mo sa mga bata. Let the students discover what is your subject matter at the end of the lesson by putting generalization or questioning the students after you discuss the entire lesson to them. So that's all about discovery approach. The next approach is process approach. The essential purpose of this approach is to equip the learners with simple and complex processes which they need or will need in solving their present and future life problems. A process is classified either as simple or complex. Example of a simple process: identifying, classifying, naming, listing, inferring, observing, looking for the meaning of a term or in the dictionary, and others. On the other hand, examples of complex process are summarizing, analyzing, reporting, surveying, experimenting, evaluating, and others. In the scope and sequence for each subject, the process refers to the different skills or behavior which should be manifested students after the concept has been taught. So, the process approach was divided into two. We have the simple and complex. For the simple process approach, we have just developing the students' level of comprehension and knowledge or memory. Like, for instance, you at the end of the lesson, you just give identification, definition, etc. But when we want to develop the complex process of the students, we will give them like summarizing, analyzing, reporting, synthesizing, surveying, experimenting, evaluating the lesson as a process approach for complex that will develop their higher order thinking skills. Another approach is what we call the inquiry approach. This approach requires the teacher to stimulate students ask questions after the materials are presented to them. During class discussion, the teacher are also free to ask salient questions related to the topic being taken up. Teachers should not be afraid to allow students to ask questions because this will develop their questioning ability. However, there are teachers who reprimand students who ask questions for fear that difficult questions will be asked if they are not prepared to answer them. There is no room for such people in the teaching profession. So, in the inquiry approach, pwede kang magtanong sa mga bata habang nagbibigay ka ng activities sa kanila so that learners will understand or will discover at the same time the lesson. And at the same time, learners can also ask questions to the teachers related to the topic. That is an inquiry approach. Okay? Do not, ang tawag dito, huwag niyong tatakutin yung mga bata sa pagtatanong. Let the students ask questions to develop their questioning ability. Kung ikaw bilang teacher, ayaw mo nagtatanong ang mga bata, then therefore, there's no room for you for this teaching profession. Because what we want is to develop the student's ability towards questioning. Okay? So, that is all about inquiry approach. Another is integrative approach. By and large, this approach stresses the identification of issues or problems, and then to have them fused in the various lessons to be taken up by the students. In this manner, the students will have a clear or comprehensive understanding of such issues. This approach is in consonance with the accepted notion that the school are integral parts of the society, and therefore must assist the government in making the citizens knowledgeable about such issues so that they can actively interact and offer constructive solutions or remedies. Unquestionably, the teachers are recognized as effective agents of change, and so by taking up a particular issue, they may be able to change the attitude of their students through skillful teaching. In addition, the students may be able to know their duty with regards to solving a problem or issues, and therefore, they may become effective community members of their country. For the integrative approach, you may integrate such issues, halimbawa, for your lessons, that is connected to the community and to the society. So that students will in will ang tawag dito, makakasunod sila regarding with the topic because they are very related. At the same time is magiging updated din sila sa mga issues at magkakaroon sila ng boses, no? Na kung saan magbibigay nila ang kanilang opinion pagdating sa issue na yon. Okay? So that is integrative approach. For mastery learning approach, this approach uses a teach-the-teach strategy. The chief purpose of using this approach is to have the students gain satisfactory understanding or at least mastery about the subject matter taught by the teacher. In this connection, the teacher sets a performance level of success or PLS, standard level of success, SLS, criterion level of success, CLS, to be obtained or to be attained by the students after he has taught one concept. Such criterion level of success depends on the general average mental ability of each of the members of the class. It could be from 50% for the slow learners up to 90% for the fast learners. After the concept has been taught, the teacher gives a formative test, maybe 10, 15 or more items as desired. The answers are given and the students are after exchanging their papers in a systematic manner. Check their answer and then the teacher asks if they attain PLS set by the teachers. For instance, if the teacher set the PLS as 70% for an item 10 test, this means that each learner must get 7 to indicate that he has mastered the concept taught by the teacher. If all the learners got 7 and above, the teacher should be congratulated because it means that he taught well. On the other hand, if not only a few got the desired PLS, the implication may be any of the following. The teacher taught in a haphazard manner. He used language not understood by the learner, taught in a very fast manner, or did not give any opportunity for the learners to interact or ask questions about the concepts being presented to them. If half of the students did not get the PLS, the teacher should reteach the lesson. Those who got the desired PLS should be given enrichment activity. Those who did not will be retaught. On the other hand, if only few learners did not get the desired PLS, tutorial activity should be done. In the master learning approach, ito naman yung tuturuan natin yung mga bata na ma-master yung lesson and then give them a formative test. Let's say yung PLS mo is 70%. So kung 10 items yon, dapat lahat ng mga bata maka 7 and above. Kapag lahat ng mga bata ay naka 7 and above, therefore you need to congratulate yourself because they learn from you. Now, what if hindi lahat sila naka 7 pataas because that is your PLS. So anong gagawin mo? So you need to teach the lesson for those who did not get a 7 above PLS. If konti lang naman, pwede na silang tutorial. If madami sila, you need to make a remediation. You need to teach the lesson and make a remediation test to test again the students if they learn from the lesson. So that is all about mastery learning approach. So you will teach them and teach them again until they master the lesson. Value-oriented approach. Value-oriented approach, at present, this is the approach being given emphasis in all levels. Chiefly, this is based on the tenet that a complete person is that one who is only knowledgeable about facts, but also one who is essentially manifests a fine characteristics and is beyond approach. The Department of Education, Culture and Sports has issued a memorandum to the field enjoining all students, or school official rather, and teachers to integrate in all subjects any of the following values that may deem inherent in any lesson. Values in relation to self such as cleanliness, integrity, punctuality, and others. Values in relation to others such as trustfulness, faithfulness, respect, and others. Values in relation to the community such as bayanihan, cooperation, sharing, and others. Values in relation to the country such as nationalism, pat- uh, patronizing Philippine-made products, obedience to law, and others, and values in relation to God, such as spirituality, religiousness, faith, and others. When we are talking about value-oriented approach, you put values to the subject matter so that students will not just only develop their knowledge and their skills, but their attitude. Value clarification approach. This approach recommends integrating values in the different lessons that the teacher teach. It consists of the following specific three major steps: choosing for among alternatives after making a careful selection, pricing, meaning the learner likes the choice, his choice, and is happy about it, and acting, that is, he manifests he has chosen in his private and public life. In the classroom, it is advisable that teachers should always ask their students about their value for a thing. Also, if they present an option from which the students may select their answers, they should not forget to ask the student why their preference for such opinion. The teacher should not insist his own value. By and large, in valuing lesson, there is no correct answer. The teacher must not get angry when a particular student deviates from his value. Because we have the same different beliefs, we have different values. So you need to respect if the students have different values. Undoubtedly, a great nation is the one whose citizens have internalized a strong set of values to the end that in the nation graft and corruption or other vices may not be reality at all. Hence, the need for integrating values in the various subjects taught to the students. Consequently, by integrating values in the various subjects, the attitudes of students may be redirected to positive endeavor needed in nation building. That's true. Kung lagi tayong naglalagay ng values sa ating mga lessons, sa ating pagtuturo, o sa ating o hindi man sa pagtuturo ng lesson, but kung ipinapakita mo ito sa mga bata. Therefore, there may be a possibility na magbabago ang landas ng tao, ang landas ng mga bata, na maaaring magbago sila and then leading to a better nation. There are other approaches being used specifically for each subject such as the following. Meron tayong creative approach, communicative approach in the teaching English, laboratory approach for sciences, vocational and technical subjects, chronological, conceptual, and area approach in the teaching of the social sciences and others. In view of this, it is necessary that school heads and teacher, a subject supervisor, must identify those approaches used for each subject and then make it a point to have teachers know them in service education program. That's why it's better that habang bata pa kayo, teachers, ay you will learn these different approaches. Suffice it to say that the above approaches are basic and therefore must be used by all teachers in teaching the subject they teach. For the meantime, I will cut the video here because we will still have strategy and techniques. This will be discussed in the part 2 of this video presentation. With that, thank you very much for your listening. Good day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video for more updates. Bye.